morning to you, good afternoon to you, and a good evening to you from wherever you are joining us. It is Maiyegun live on the brunch time this afternoon. So good that you're joining us, and thank you rather for joining me. Please, after reading the caption of the broadcast, kindly, as usual, read the description of the broadcast, like it, share it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them to join us. Another thing is that if you are new on Maiyegun's Diary Political Brunch Time, which is live, right? This is also the segment where you can actually phone in anytime to add your own contributions, right? To the conversation. So the number to call is right there on your screen. Use it anytime, and you can be part of the convo. Today, Mazi, Nnamdi Kanu returned back to their court. Remember that the last time he was there, he put up an argument, which was that the legal base for his trial, the part of the Nigerian law that they are using to try him, they will need to prove it because the one that exists right now is that of an archaic law, which makes the entire trial a sham and a waste of time. And then the federal government of Nigeria trying him this time, they said, no, he's trying to evade, the trial, and also that he is deliberately delaying, the court. Now, Nnamdi Kanu doesn't really believe in your justice system, which most of you don't as well. However, his argument is very clear. Before I can go ahead and put up a defense, it has to be something that has to do with your law. And if the court seems like in agreement with you that despite the fact that you are trying me on already, the law that is no longer in existence, right? And you still don't want to make correction of that, then you have to leave it for the court. So today in court, I want to read a quote. And this is from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. A statement that they said they should put in writing and submit it as a statement, right? Goes thus, right? He said, before this court, you must surmount the legal thresholds I have raised prior to requesting that I proceed with my defense. You cannot ask me to open my defense when you are unable to specify under which law I am being charged. A review of the records from this court reveals that there is no law supporting the charges against me. Consequently, I request that this court release me. Your Lordship, I implore you to take judicial notice of all records within this court. So the argument the statement put forward by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in court today. However, like I said, Awomolo, that's his name, the prosecuting or the persecuting lawyer on behalf of Nigeria, therefore told the court that, see, he's just delaying you and delaying this court. So the court should not admit the last statement of Nnamdi Kanu, this particular statement. However, the court said it should still go on and put all of this in writing and say, this is my own submission, okay? While the court said it's going to take this statement. However, Nnamdi Kanu should still try and take a legal advice, but if he waives that right, he's got till tomorrow, which is the 5th of November. However, outside the court today, there were some briefings. I'll show you. So let's go to that Abuja after the charm, call it, trial and charges of Nnamdi Kanu. As much as their media may be running with any other headlines, Nnamdi Kanu is not afraid to put up a defense. But he kept, telling all of us that, look at the quote, look at the charges you have brought against me, right? You are quoting this particular law that is no longer in existence. They've amended it, which means that one is no longer in existence, right? Since 2012. How could you make a mistake that you are charging somebody that you have held for like 10 years, right? and you are still charging him with an old law. How could you be that? Then he's pointing that out, but Nigerian media is saying he's not putting up a defense. Who are those advising him? He should blah, blah, blah. But here, outside the court.
The law that I have contravened, yes. You cannot ask me to enter a defense for a law that does not exist. And particularly, the law that the Supreme Court itself has declared non-existent. So what will I be defending? We're in a country where our laws are written. This is not England where you have an unwritten constitution or unwritten law. We have a country where all our laws are in black and white. This is a lawmaker here. They made the law we're talking about. And if you ask him, he will tell you that there is nowhere they missed chapter 45 of the criminal code. They didn't make it. Honorable, you people make that law. It is not in existence. So who made that law? Who made that law? Was that law made by the Attorney General's office? And the Attorney General does not have the powers to make laws. So I am saying, as an ordinary citizen, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is completely right and within section 36 of the Constitution, which borders on his fundamental right to fair hearing, to be charged in a court with a law that is in existence, not with a law that is not existent. Thank you.
Be offered to be limited wiggle room of a court of law, of the judiciary. There is a lot of wide back, a lot of wide space left for politicians or political leaders of this country to resolve political issues that border on agitation. Why this one has become intractable is very, very, very disappointing. There's a thesis that has become intractable because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo man. That thesis is becoming more and more valid by the day. So what is playing out in court now is nothing but the best evidence that this matter has gone beyond the province of judiciary and should be taken back, by the executive branch that started it anyway. There is no trial without prosecution. So it's the executive branch, the president, that triggered this through the office of the Attorney General. So the president can direct the Attorney General to take the case back to the table to see whether it should be resolved politically. But to try to resolve this case before the courts is becoming more and more impossible every day.
Is this a call for political intervention on this case?
Well, of course, everybody is calling for that. It's not throwing in the power. What is wrong with calling with reconciliation when the courts of the land actually recognize it as well? Check out Section 17 of Federal High Court Act. It called on judges to seek reconciliation between litigants before them, including criminal cases. Section 174 of the Constitution empowered the Attorney General of the Federation to discontinue criminal prosecutions. So why should anybody say this matter should be resolved in courts when we have an alternative route of resolving it politically that appears to be easier and that would appear to be pleasing to everybody?
Okay, let's talk about the proceedings today.
The procedure today?
The proceedings today.
Okay.
What next?
I will yield to one of my colleagues to discuss that. By Samaswell Opera Wukusia.
Okay, actually, it's good for us to put the record straight. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not saying that you will not enter the fence. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, under what law are you charging me? Going by the Constitution, there is absolutely no charge against him. Now tell me the law. The court should tell me the law upon which he's being tried. Now, my law is on so saying that whatever thing that you have to say should be moved at the final written address, and it should be upon a conviction to know whether they're supposed to be convicted or not. I'm not going to say no. There are thresholds, there are hurdles upon which you need to cross for you to reach that particular issue. And one fundamental issue there is that my law said we are talking about issue of extraordinary rendition, the way we are being brought back from Kenya to Nigeria. And they want somebody to come and give evidence on that. There is nothing before him. And if you watch the motion of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu filed, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said Federal High Court has given a judgment in respect of that, and also awarded 500 million naira against federal government in his favor. That judgment is in the court file. Court of Appeal, in their judgment, also gave a ruling on that and made comment about that. The CTC of that judgment is in the court file. Supreme Court, in their judgment, also took judicial notice of that and they condemned that attitude. They are all in court file. There was a motion challenging the decision of the court where these issues are being raised. And Mazi Nnamdi made reference of the motion in the court file. And under the Evidence Act, Mazi Nnamdi is saying that under the law, court is obliged, is under obligation to take judicial notice of every document in their file. Yes. So asking him now to go and enter into a defense and start giving evidence on that is a waste of time. Yes. That court is on its own supposed to take so much to raise this issue. Yeah. Court is expected to raise this issue. Now there is a charge before me. Please.
Right. So the conclusion then today was that since they already have a predetermined conclusion where they wanted this to end, as we all know, like Binta and Yako, and we won't be surprised, right? So the judge has now given tomorrow for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to put all of these statements, put them in like proper writing and submit them to the court. And then the court will now say, okay, we'll give a ruling. If Nnamdi Kanu is not going to put up a defense based on these poorly conjured charges. So we'll take that on tomorrow and see what surprise or surprises they have in stock for us. But again, it is not a prosecution. It is persecution. In Nigeria, where people agitate and advocate for a just country, and at the same time demand for their own, country, right? Peacefully is a place where people such people are sent to prison, while those who are wielding different dangerous weapons, slaughtering people in their hundreds and thousands are called bandits. You know what I mean? Like peaceful bandits. So the recent uproar after the president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, reacted to the killings of Christians in Nigeria, which triggered the alleged Muslims thinking that Donald Trump's action or Donald Trump's statement could actually trigger a religious crisis in Nigeria, which will make them to start killing Christians properly. That's the point. So, and Donald Trump should stay off Nigeria. The killings in Nigeria is not just about Christians, they are also killing Muslims too. But not until Donald Trump spoke, right? These sudden lovers of Nigeria never give a shit about any Muslim killed. But now they are telling us that more Muslims are being killed. Why did Donald Trump not talk about them? Okay, why did Donald Trump not go to Libya, not go to Sudan? Why is he not going to Gaza? Why is he not going to this or that? In a nutshell, they just want these things to continue as it is because they are not really that bothered. But Donald Trump's action will make them bother that they may even start killing Christians properly now. Religious crisis. So one of those who have been speaking is Sheikh Osama bin Gumi. Now, Sheikh Osama bin Gumi, very much like an old terrorist in himself, right, has been a very, very big mouthpiece for these murderous, Islamic jihadists in Nigeria. You see, I will tell you this, that in fact, the political class in Nigeria have made it a bit of a point of call to go and see this Sheikh Osama bin Gumi, whose public record and then, association with these murderers is very much evident publicly, right? So they still go to him for his blessings, enough that he kept telling them that you should not even dare say you want to kill these terrorists. Rather, if you have this power, you must have a plan to negotiate with them. Atiku met him, Obi met him, And I think Tifnumbu's people also met him as well. So for those in power, when Bokwari was there, enabling these terrorists and their advancement at the time, Sheikh Osama bin Gumi, right, was one of those advising the government to make sure that they were using non-kinetic approach. So non-kinetic approach is the negotiate with the terrorist approach. And since they have been negotiating with the terrorists, the killings have never stopped. Sheikh Osama bin Gumi is also reacting to Donald Trump's statement, which is that get rid of these terrorists or we will get rid of them for you. Something, like I said, that triggered the reactions of those who are now the lovers of the dead Muslims. Because until now, they didn't give a damn about the dead Muslims. So Sheikh said, if Donald Trump tried that, it will burn down Nigeria, sort of. Because the same fear-mongering of, they are coming to steal your resources, they are coming to steal your this or that, they're going to take your this or that, and all that bullshit, right? But Sheikh Osama bin Gumi took his own further. And I want you to listen. Yeah. Here. Gumi.
If it's China coming to say that, people will believe it, because China is not prognosing into our internal affairs. If it's Russians, people will believe them. But America are not to be liars. They said Saddam Hussein has new weapons of mass destruction, and there is none. And they have caused confusion in Iraq, in Libya, and everywhere. So when they said Muslims are killing, or there is massacre of Muslims, Christians in Nigeria, from which side? They didn't specify whether it is the government or whether it is the Muslims that are doing it, or even if Christians are targeted, whatever it is. If Americans can cure and eliminate the terrorists, I will welcome it myself. But I know they cannot.
Okay, when you say they cannot,
let me tell you. Okay. They have fought 20 years in Afghanistan. They could not finish them. Afghanistan is in Syria now. This same thing. And this terrorist, you see, it's not easy to just come and drop bombs here and there and think you finish them. They have infiltrated the society, so it's going to cause more damage. More Muslims and more Christians will be killed if America would drop a bomb in Nigeria. I'm telling you this. You can take it for a record. So what we are trying to avoid, we are going to even compound it. Look, myself, I have been trying to see how we can pacify these people. I've been going to see how we can pacify these people and redirect them, because they are human beings. They listen and reason. But if you say you want to use force against force, then you will compound the problem and make the thing dirty. If Nigerian army, which has been very active in many hotspots, cannot deal with this issue for 18 years, for 15 years with Boko Haram, and now the bandits, and to me, the bandits are even more vicious, because they are.
You said something about Nigerian army not being able to do something about it for some time now. You have been the person, or rather, news have actually carried it that you more like mediate or serve as an intermediary between them and the government, and that actually has sparked quite reaction among Nigerians. What can you tell us to be, some of the good points or flash points of your, interaction or discussion with them, especially when you had to get into the bush? Because the other time we're talking about giving them amnesty and all that.
Yes. You see, just to entice them to leave their weapons. You see, one thing good about it is, you see, you don't treat a disease without diagnosis. If a doctor can diagnose a disease, even if it's cancer, he will know how to manage it. So the good thing about it is, now before we are fighting a phantom, we don't know something is fighting us, coming to take us. We don't know that person. Now, by going to talk with them and sit down with them and to hear their grievances and understand their psychology, so we are able now to contain the problem. Now Kaduna is relatively safe. I can say from you don't hear any more mass killings now in Kaduna, because we understand their psychology, and the governor is cooperating. We are talking to them, and they are keeping their weapons. They are not fighting. They still on the weapons. They hold the weapons. But you see, this is a small, gradual process in which slowly we will civilize them. We'll take away their weapons and let them into good citizens. So this is it.
So that's Gumi. Gumi said that if it was the Chinese, if it was China that is promising to come and help Nigeria to fight the terrorists, he will believe them. Why won't he? From Zamfara, from the northwest to the northeast to the north central, where these terrorists have dominated